All right, folks, we are at the hour. We're going to go ahead and kick off. My name is Allison Ball. I'm the Director of Marketing for Lisio, and I'm delighted to welcome you to a webinar that we are co-sponsoring with our friends at Tech Guru. So just a little housekeeping. We wanted to, Chris and Daniel have told me they want this webinar to be very interactive. So please put your questions in the chat or use the Q&A, and Lindsay and I will call them out at the appropriate times. We like to have a lot of fun with this, so if you have funny comments and things you want to insert, that'd be great. We'll share them with the audience. So for now, just sit back and relax, and I'm going to turn it over to Daniel and Chris.
Wonderful. Thank you, Allison.
Thank you, Chris.
And thank you, Allison, and welcome everybody. My name is Chris. I'm the CEO here at Lisio. And if you're not already familiar with us, our mission is to empower professional service firms of all sizes to put your clients first. So we start with the customer, and we deliver a secure web and mobile platform for them to exchange sensitive information with you. And so it's my distinct pleasure to introduce you to Daniel Moshe, founder and CEO of Tech Guru. Hi, Daniel.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Chris. Tech Guru, very complimentary, and we're very grateful to be working together with you, Chris, and your team. What we're doing is helping CPA firms get the most out of their technology. So that's what the topic today is just so timely, is understanding the role that technology can play to help you leverage and drive growth in your firm. And so that's what we both do, right? That's what Lisio is all about. That's what Tech Guru is all about.
That's right. I think, oh yeah. Well, I was going to say, as founders and business owners and caring team members, we're all wearing an awful lot of hats, right? So in fact, most companies are on the smaller side, and not necessarily huge corporations with a department for everything. So I know a lot of you out there are juggling a lot of different things, chief executive, chief information officer and security officer, right? Chief strategy officer, and in a lot of cases, even IT help desk. So it reminds me a lot of the old line, what do you do at your job? And maybe the answer is, well, chef, cook, and bottle washer, right? So, having been there, having been through the small business stage before, I think Daniel and I have both certainly been there. And we're working with hundreds of firms, every year together, and firms of all sizes, really, right? We're hearing the same issues come up over and over again. And the themes are generally around, am I doing the right things? The technology side is moving really quickly. Maybe it's getting a little bit overwhelming. Maybe there's a sense of digital burnout out there a little bit too, right? How much can we stay on top of everything we have to? So Daniel and I put together an agenda today that we think will help, and we hope will help all of you think about the role that technology is playing in your firm and allow you to execute at a higher level, gain from a lot of the experiences that the collection of CPA firms we're working with together have had, right? Many of you had various experiences. We've likely seen a lot of them together, Daniel especially. And we want to provide you with an opportunity to think at a higher level, to see the forest from the trees, kind of a vantage point, and to not get lost in the weeds. So with that in mind, allow me to start with our agenda here today, which is assessing your technology, selecting the right tools, leveraging the technology to improve client response times and staff efficiency, and then give you some simple formulas, some simple ways to kind of think about and navigate your firm. So with that in mind, Dan, I'd love to hand it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that introduction, Chris. And so what we did was, when thinking about technology, is we thought, well, how can we make it really, really simple and easy to understand, so that once this busier season is over, the dust has settled and you've come back from your recovery vacation, that you'll be able to take stock of where your technology is at, so that you can get prepared to make the next busy season your best yet. So get this window of opportunity, this off-peak season after going into June and through the summer, to make some great changes and make some great moves to better leverage technology to grow your firm. And so the model that we've created is called the CPA Technology Optimization Model. And what I'm going to do is introduce you to the model at a very, very high level, kind of walk you through what it looks like when everything's working really, really well for your firm. And you know, what the heck? People learn best when they're interacting and when it's a workshop. So as I go through and share this model with you, is I share with you the good, better, and best of each of these 6 components. If there's areas that you feel would help you better leverage technology for your firm, I'd love for you to write those things down and build a list of potential opportunities to leverage technology better this next year. Make 2021 a breakout year for your technology, and use it as like I said, like a lever or a leverage to get and grow your firm even faster and get more of what you want from your firm and build your ideal firm. So I'm going to take it through at a very high level first, what it is and what it looks like when it's working really, really well. And then we're going to dive into each of these 6 components, share with you a good, better, best scenario for each one of them. And then you then have the opportunity to identify potential ways that you can build your list of priorities for the coming off-peak season. So starting right with, I like to start with applications actually at 3 o'clock or at 2 o'clock there, which is when your applications, these are all the software, all the tools that you're using, whether they're in the cloud or on your desktop computer, having them all working, integrating with each other. They're all browser-based is kind of the best case scenario. They're all really supporting your business, not the other way around. We run into situations where in some cases, the software and apps that firms are using are actually like slowing them down. They're not accessible from anywhere. And so they're really kind of cumbersome and clunky to use. And so this component of the model is all about strengthening your apps, looking at your app stack and making sure that it's really serving you and helping you deliver a great customer experience for your clients. And Chris is going to share more about that a little bit later in today's agenda. The second component is the gear component. And for all of those apps to work really, really well, you got to have the right gear that's fast and reliable, that's helping your team be efficient and productive. And so you can have the best apps in the world, but if you don't have the right gear, you're still going to be slowed down and it's going to be frustrating. It's great to share a vision and put great work in front of your people, but if you don't empower them with the right tools, they're going to get frustrated and they're going to struggle. So once you got the great app, you got great tools, you got great apps, you got the right equipment or gear. It's all about having it all connected seamlessly with high-speed connections wherever you happen to be, that is secure, reliable. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about actually redundancy or having secondary internet connections and the importance of that with more and more apps being accessible only from the internet. So nowadays, if the internet goes down, your business stops, right? Back in the day, the internet goes down, I get a phone call, I get out there in the next day or so, right? That was 10, 15 years ago. You could still operate. That is not the case anymore, right? People, you have to be connected all the time. The next component is a security component. And this is building confidence with your team, with your clients, that their information is going to be safe and secure with you, right? So all the best tools in the world and the most productive team will still struggle to be successful if the data security practices in those firms are not best in class. And then we'll swing around to strategy, how a plan for your technology will help create additional intention. And with intention, you're much more likely to get where you want to go. How does that saying go? If you don't know where you're going, you might not get there, something like that. The same goes for technology. Right. And so just like when you go into the grocery store without a shopping list, you end up with with a cart full of things that you didn't intend on buying and you forgot half the things you actually needed. The same thing goes for technology. It's easy to go to conferences and see the new shiny thing that you want to buy, but not realize or understand how it fits in with the rest of your technology ecosystem. So having a foundational strategy where technology is designed to support your business and your business growth is going to help you be more intentional and pick the right tools that are going to make all the difference. And last but not least, all the greatest technology in the world won't work well if it's not managed and supported proactively. So we'll talk about how and what that can look like for you. As I like to say, as technology goes, so goes the rest of your organization, right? And so investing in the right technologies for your firm will help you build enterprise value and grow sustainably and scalably, not like the wheels are coming off. It's going to help you, having great technology is going to help you sleep better. It's going to give you more peace of mind. And critically, it's going to help you attract and retain great talent while driving an excellent customer experience. All of those things you need to build a great company. So I'm going to dive into each of these components and share with you a good, better, best for each of them, and help you evaluate and build your list of items that you want to be working on during the off-peak season, and hopefully help you also start to look for and identify areas during the busier season that you're seeing right now where there's areas for improvement that you can focus on after busy season. So that's the model. Let's start right into apps. And so again, please feel free to pop any questions in the Q&A. I like banter and addressing questions. If they make sense, we'll fit them in as we go. Otherwise, we'll hit them at the end. So let's talk about apps. So this is where everything happens. This is the magic that helps make your business run better. All the tools that you use, in your firm. So good baseline expectations is that your apps are just current. They're updated by the software vendor, and you've got support provided for those software. Ideally, they're enabling you to do more with less time. I like to say that a good piece of software is like one employee. It's like having another employee. But the nice thing is, it's not another payroll. It's just another person. It's like having another person who's moving things forward behind the scenes and keeping your business running smoothly. And again, just baseline expectations for your apps is, of course, that they're backed up. The data is backed up, and you're thinking about how long would it take to restore in the event of some kind of failure or hardware, breaking. And of course, that information is secure. What I mean by secure is that if it's accessible from the internet, that at the very least you're using two-factor authentication, which means that you're getting a code or using a code generator or app on your phone or device to log into that application. So let's take it up a notch. So those are the basic foundational, just gotta have them. But better is that your team really understands the application, and the magical term here is adoption, right? It's that people are using more functionality of the software. So whether it's your tax software, your practice management software, your workflow software, it's that people are not just kind of skirting it or like using the minimum, but like really embracing it and leveraging the functionality that exists, taking advantage of training that the vendor provides, working with a IT provider to better understand and help everybody leverage the use of it, and training and onboarding new team members to use that software your way, the best way, the right way. And then all of the different apps that you have, companies nowadays have dozens, and especially CPA firms have dozens and dozens of applications that, as much as possible, they are connected to one another, reducing the necessity for duplicate data entry and for having those apps be integrated with one another. So when you do something in one, it connects to the other. And that data entry is efficient and not having to put things in the same information in multiple systems. And now, best ideal situation. So if you find yourself at good, maybe it's better. This year you want to go to better, right? Help train your staff a little bit better. Look for and implement maybe some better integrations or software that integrates with the tools that you're already using to help you automate or improve the customer experience, like Lisio, for example. And then best, if you're better, this is the year maybe you go to best, right? It's all about driving efficiency. So understanding, well, we're using this app this way, but there's this business problem we have over here. Could we better use it to create more efficiency to make that process go smoother next busy season, right? And asking yourself those questions. Everything is fully connected, fully integrated, and ideally, perfect best case scenario is everything is in a browser. You're accessing all of your apps through Chrome or whatever browser you want to use. You don't have a server, you don't have a data center. You don't have to worry about managing and updating software and managing those licenses. You're getting a massive lift in productivity from your technology, from your apps, and from your application stack. Chris, I don't know if you have any comments. I just wanted to.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So obviously native cloud and all that kind of thing, pretty big deal getting there. For clients working with you and what you're seeing, how realistic is that? And how, do you have a lot of clients who have made it to that and have realized that potential?
Yeah. So the question I like to ask is, if you were starting a new firm today, how would you set it up? Right? If you didn't have all the existing legacy software and all the data, how would you access it today? How would you do it today? Virtual. Thank you, Tracy. Yes. With like 5 exclamation points.
And
Yes.
Daniel, we also have an awesome question from Joe, if you don't mind me
Yeah, I saw
interjecting.
that one.
Yeah, how do you handle integration when certain apps operate in a walled garden with no open APIs?
Yes, that's a great question from Joe. I was going to get to that in just a second. So yeah, but to your point, Chris, about yes. So in some cases, the solution just isn't there, right? To go fully cloud browser based, especially with us all knowing about the tax preparation software that's currently available on the market. So we're all just doing the best we can, right? And so whenever we can lift things out from that server and left out a workflow tool or a practice management tool and look at alternatives or file storage and file sharing and collaboration and team collaboration software, we're looking to lift as many things as we can, and we're just biding our time until the right OnVO, et cetera, becomes a viable solution to completely move out to the cloud. Yeah.
It feels like you have to have that North Star.
Yeah.
Directionally correct,
And so that's why I'm saying, like, progress, not perfection. I picked my son up from school yesterday. I said, how was your behavior at school? He said, better. I'm like, all right, that's what I like to hear. Just better. Like, that's all we want, incremental growth. And yeah, Joe, your question is, look, we've seen that business model. I'm not sure which particular software you're talking about. No need to name names. I know they're out there, that they don't have APIs, they don't play well with others. Okay, here's my honest, humble opinion, not knowing who you're talking about, so I'm not trying to badmouth anybody, but that business model is dying, right? Having a closed walled garden, no API external access to your software, and trying to be the best at everything, it's very 2005, right? It's no longer the way that we go. It's now about finding best-in-class softwares individually that have pre-written integrations that connect with each other, and then connecting those tools together, all with different specialties, like all the way down. I can't believe I spend $144 per license per month for Calendly, that calendar scheduling software, but it's so worth it, right? It's so worth it. And so that's a best-in-class scheduling tool that connects with my Microsoft 365, best-in-class that. So that's what I'm talking about. Put all these tools together and you build a really great ecosystem. So the question might need to be asking yourself, Joe, and everyone, is that the right long-term partner for you? And is it possible that there's some alternatives that you might want to consider?
It reminds me of graduate school, right? People go to school for business, and the whole thing for a long time was you want to build your business model around lock-in. Get a client, lock them into your system. And it was business model centric. I think the approach was so business model centric rather than being client or user centric. And we've seen everything move user centric, but I think we're still holding on to this legacy MBA thinking.
Yeah. So thank you, Chris. Yeah, reflecting, and thank you, Joe, for the great question. Reflecting on, where are you at today? Are you at good and want to get better? Are you at better and want to go best? Write down the things and items that are holding you back. Build that list, and then you can use that as your the starting point for a game plan for this off-peak season. So as I mentioned, the best apps and tools are no good to you without the right gear. And so at the very minimum baseline, everything's got to be Windows 10. Everything's got to be under warranty, and you've got clear expectations set with your employees about how and when and where and what they can do with their computers and what they can access from company equipment versus not company equipment. That's what I mean by device policies. So when I talk about gear, it includes desktop PCs, laptops, mobile devices, tablets, scanners, monitors, peripherals, headsets. That's all that stuff. So empower your team members with the right stuff to do the job well. It's all about human capital in your organization and helping people be as productive as ever. I am happy. I mean, I'm not completely happy, but I'm happy to buy a $200 headset for somebody, knowing that that's going to help them be more effective and better communicate with our customers. It's going to improve the employee experience and our customer experience. I'm not happy about spending $200 on a headset, don't get me wrong, but look at the ROI. And so I'm like, all right, 42-inch monitors, sit-stand desks. What do you need to be successful, happy, comfortable, and healthy? And that's what I'm going to buy for you. So we went and we just asked everybody this past year, actually past quarter, what do you need to be more comfortable, productive, and effective working from home? Right? That's the office now for us. Everybody's working remotely. And so we just said, tell us what you need. There's no is your feet cold? We'll get you a space heater. Do you need a better desk? Do you need a better monitor? Do you need a dock? And we got everything from like $15 little those things that you stand on, anti-fatigue mats, to a bigger, better setup from a desk, right? And all these little investments that we make because our people are our company, right? And so if we help them be a little bit happier, it's going to make all the difference. So better is like, all right, now we got the right products on the desks. What about ergonomics? Are people healthy, working in a healthy way that's sustainable? Looking at device management. So better is now managing devices proactively, working with your IT vendor, and making sure that all those devices are always being updated and being kept secure, and monitoring that they're being compliant with security policies. And better, I think, is employee choice, giving them, like I mentioned, the opportunity to decide which platforms they're going to be most productive with and happiest using. And I think best is leveraging up all the way up to big 42-inch monitors or whatever the size I can't remember, 42, 43, giving everybody with a laptop and a dock so they can work when and where they're most productive and happiest, and empowering people with things like desktop scanners and the right headsets to be successful. And so unless everybody's in the office, and I doubt that's the case, desktops are dead. Don't buy any more desktops. It's a laptop and it's a dock. The fact is, laptops are just as cost effective now. They used to be way more expensive, and they're just as powerful. And the fact is that people need the flexibility, just given where everybody's at right now. We need to have some more flexibility. So that's good. That's gear. Good, better, best. Mini computers are working great for me. Love them. Yes. Yeah. We've been using a lot of those small microcomputers. They mount just on the back of the monitor, even in some cases. So thank you for that comment, Patrice. Those are great. All right. So now you got the right gear and the right peripherals, the right accessories. So write down any areas you want to improve this coming year. And the next conversation is, how do we keep everybody connected? Okay, so baseline minimum expectation, can you believe it, is either fiber or cable. That's it. If somebody doesn't have fiber or cable, they cannot work from home for you. They have to come to the office or work from a co-office space or move. I hate to say it that way. The office obviously has to be fiber or cable or both. I'll get into that in a second. Your Wi-Fi obviously has to be encrypted, but not using those old WEP 26-character hexadecimal. It's got to be modern WPA2 encryption. If you don't know if you have WPA2 encryption on your Wi-Fi, then you need to go and figure that out, because that's a question you should know and should be able to answer. And if you're I love this. Thank you, Justin, for putting this image in here. It makes me laugh. If you've got a Linksys router that looks like this, it's too old. It needs to be replaced. 3 to 4 years is the max that these devices last, wireless devices. And also I see people setting up new offices and they're like, oh, we're just going to do Wi-Fi. We're going to do office build out. We're just going to use Wi-Fi. I'm like, listen, here's the thing. Nothing beats cable and copper in the wall. So if you're going to do an office build out and people are going to be working from any kind of desk station, still do Ethernet cable. So I got people thinking about upgrading offices, downsizing offices, moving offices. Still use Ethernet. It's that cable that runs in the wall. It's still the fastest, most secure, most reliable way to do networking and the internet. All right. So if you have the good foundation, now it's time to take it up a notch. Have your Wi-Fi professionally managed and monitored for you using business class equipment. And that goes for home offices also. So think about managing and securing your home office just like it's a business office. Make sure you're having separate guest access, because the last thing you want to have is somebody come into your office and get onto your internal private network, right? And potentially put a virus on one of your computers, maybe even most likely unintentionally. So if you must have separate business and private networks from guest access if you have people coming into your office. And then also, I don't even know. I would think that even, I'm thinking about moving this to just the good category, but having 2 or a secondary internet connection, ladies and gentlemen, is just a baseline almost expectation nowadays. Because the fact is, how do you get your internet access? It's a cable buried in the ground or hung on a piece of wood hanging in the air. Okay, well, what does that tell you? A storm, a digger, anything, right, can cause, not to mention power outage, power surge. There's a long list of things that can take out one of your internet connections. So, and as we talked about, your internet, your business comes to a halt when your internet goes down. So the extra $60, $70, $100 a month it costs to have a second internet connection for the 2, 3, or 4 days that it goes down in a given year might very well pay for itself. So ask yourself, is it worth $1,200 a year to have 3 more days of productivity in the office? Because that's likely how much time you'd have downtime and have to send everybody to go work somewhere else. And I used to say your backup could be a coffee shop, but now that's, that's iffy, right? So you really need to make sure that you've got everything taken care of. And then best case scenario, secure Wi-Fi for home offices. I kind of mentioned that. Failover internet. This is kind of the next step up. This means you've got 2 internet connections and you've got a piece of equipment that automatically switches over and uses the fastest and most available connection. And so that means it's almost like, it's called teaming or pairing, where you've got 2 connections simultaneously being used, and whichever one is the fastest for the one that you're using, for the website or whatever service that you're using, it's going to use that faster connection for that. And obviously, if one fails, it seamlessly switches over to the other one. So that's kind of best in class, maximum productivity. You all have your IT guy, give me a call. I'll help him out. Or I think Allison's sending the recording. Just monitoring the chat there.
Yeah, we'll send the recording out afterwards. Yeah.
Thanks, Allison. And then VPN. It's $10 a month. If and when everybody starts traveling again, using that, if you're in the airport or at a hotel, just connect quick to a VPN for kind of just another level of protection when you're accessing company resources. So if you hear the following acronym, DSL, then run away. It doesn't work. It's not fast enough. Satellite, it's not fast enough for Zoom and other bandwidth hungry applications, unless it's Starlink. Everybody go out and check out Starlink, which is super, super cool. And it could potentially be a really viable, good backup internet connection, because it's supposed to be just as fast as like a wired connection. So I've got a Starlink dish, I'm testing it, and more to come on that, but there's some potential new technology that could really help.
Daniel, there's one question just before we leave this slide, if you wouldn't mind. Jane is asking, could you mention again what you recommend for home office security?
Thank you, Allison. I did miss that. I appreciate you mentioning that. So home office, you know what? We're going to talk about security up next. Why don't I cover that in security? Because security and connectivity are very closely related. And then Jane, if this doesn't answer your question, post it again, and I will we'll come back to it. So again, there are unfortunately people out there who are sitting in internet cafes and data center or like offices, trying to get into your systems, send invoices to your customers, and get them to pay them instead of you. So just know that there are people actively looking for the ability to compromise your client information and take advantage and profit from it at your cost, at your loss, and the loss of your client's trust. So the stakes are higher than ever, and they're only going to get higher. And I got to tell you, everybody just has to be at best for this. And if you feel like there's gaps in your security, it's not even if, it's a matter of when things are going to get compromised. So we take a very hard line. We take a very aggressive approach to security because the stakes are so high. Your business is on the line here. So good, written, clarified security policies that everybody's got to sign in your company, using Lisio or any other type of platform that is going to provide secure client communication, and calling and telling your clients to stop emailing you stuff. Chris, do you have anything you want to say about this?
Well, this is the big elephant in the room, isn't it? This is where we talk to firms all the time, and I think what's interesting about this, Daniel, is if we look at just by the numbers, and there's a reason why the IRS has taken a stand on this. There's a reason why Congress has weighed in with Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act, et cetera, saying don't email. Congress has said it. IRS says it. Everybody says it. The elephant in the room is because it's happening all the time. I think from the surveys we've seen from the American Bar Association to a lot of what we've had discussions with insurers. Insurers provide their companies with a discount if they use Listio, for example, because they know how big the risk profile is. One of the insurers we worked with for CPAs has come out and said on another webinar we had with them, more than half of their clients have been breached.
Well, yeah.
Just let that sit there. More than half of their clients have been breached. And that was 18 months ago. And we know this is continuing to ratchet up, but it's something that nobody's going to talk about, right? It's probably like, at a cocktail party, not gonna say, hey, we were breached, right? It's not in the conversation, but it's something that we know and something we've been through. So I think you're spot on. We all need to be at best here. And we need to be really, really talking about it and being, pretty open with what best practices are and what we can do and what each other is doing so we can help each other raise our games.
Sweet. So thank you, Chris. A couple security standards, 2-factor authentication for everything. If you take only one thing away from this workshop and you write down only one thing, 2-factor authentication for everything. That means that when you're logging in, if you haven't logged in for a while, it's going to ask you for a code. And get this, the text messaging codes, Microsoft is now telling people stop using those text message codes and switch over to the authenticator apps that show you a code, and it changes every couple seconds, every like 30 seconds or whatever. So switching over to that, and then passwords. Don't just let everybody figure out how to do passwords their own way. And Susie does it in an Excel spreadsheet, and Mary puts it in her Outlook notes, and Tom puts it on the post-it under his keyboard. No more of any of that. Set up LastPass for your organization, for your team, and administer it. And everybody uses and shares passwords on LastPass. Better, take it up a notch. Somebody in your organization must own security and is in charge of making sure that people are doing passwords right, devices are being securely used, that people's home offices are using WPA2 encryption on their wireless devices. And actually, the way the home office should be set up, it should be a separate network for the work stuff and a separate network for the home stuff. So that means you've got your cable modem, you got a router, and you got a kind of a separate device that manages all your home stuff. I don't want to get too technical because this isn't a security workshop. But that's what best practice is for the home office, is actually having a separate device and a separate wireless network for your home work, from the work that you're doing from home. So physical administrative controls, that's a fancy way of saying, you're locking doors. Doors are locked that have sensitive information or equipment. And administrative controls, that mean devices are locked. You've got key codes or passcodes you have to enter, or any kind of biometrics. All that stuff is fine as long as it's enabled. And then you've done a cybersecurity assessment. We did this just in the last year or two for our own company, and it was very enlightening. We thought we were doing a good job. We were doing a good job, but there were a couple areas that we didn't realize we needed to improve. And there's no better way to understand where you need to improve than doing an assessment. Even a self-assessment is better than nothing. And we have a self-assessment tool I can talk about later. Maybe we can include a link in the email. Best case scenario, doing regularly scheduled, reported, ongoing security awareness training, because the biggest security breach is you. You are the biggest security hole for your company, you and all of your team. I'm sorry to be honest, I'm just brutally honest with you. It's you. So educate yourself. Whether it's know before, maybe your cybersecurity insurance liability provider offers you some training as well. There's other great tools out there. Educate yourself on this, because the types of attacks and hacks are they keep kind of changing and evolving and getting better and smarter. And so making sure you're updating your policies regularly, training people on them. And then I think that the name of the game is actually training your clients as well, and educating them on how and what to do, not only when it comes to interacting with you, but just good general best practices. I think that as CPA, you are the fiduciary of your client's kind of financial and tax information. I think it's a potential important role that you can and should play for your clients to help them improve their security game as well, because you could do a really great job helping everybody get the best tax deductions and protecting their assets and protecting their net worth and all their savings. And then they get a call from a hacker that takes over their computer and convinces them to send money in a box to these people because they thought that they accidentally got money in their wrong account. I saw this video, Mark Rober, he did an expose on how they do this, and it's incredibly sophisticated, and it starts with robocalls and things like that. So please educate your clients on how they can be safe and not wiring or not sending money to anybody for any reason, no matter how convincing it is.
Daniel, my own mother was nearly a victim of that at Christmas time.
Yeah.
And it was $30,000, and she almost wired the money.
Yeah. Well, she's very lucky
Very
because
convincing.
many people do it.
Yeah.
So educate your clients, educate yourselves. That's the best thing you can do to help stay on top of this, and let your IT provider manage the behind the scenes stuff. So I got
a question for you. I got a security question for you. So, you mentioned workshops, that kind of thing too. I think there could be a much deeper dive, obviously, in a lot of these areas, but we've got a lot of people working from home now.
Yeah.
I mean, so, WPA2 encryption. We've got, maybe use a discrete device or certainly a discrete channel on your network for business versus personal, all those kinds of things. How do we know? I mean, how are you advising your clients on understanding what's happening in the home? Because we're not there. We can't put our eyes on it necessarily, right?
Yeah. So what we're doing is we're just doing our very best with securing the computers and saying only use company-owned equipment for accessing any corporate information or applications or data. And then at least that's the only thing we have control over anymore is the device, the end device. So making sure that those are secure, modern, monitored, managed, and updated by your provider is the best place to go. Next level up, upgrade the wireless network stuff at home, or send home a device that's secured and managed by your provider.
So are people just putting together these kits and just shipping it to their team, saying, "Hey, look, this is our company standard"?
Yes.
I haven't seen a lot of companies do that yet. This is a very interesting concept of just part of the onboarding and hardware refresh cycles.
Yeah, it's weird now. We hire and onboard somebody that we've never even met in person anymore, and we send them this box of thousands of dollars of computer gear. This person we've never met. And I'm like, okay, here's all your tech guru stuff. You start on Tuesday or whatever. It's just, it's a really crazy time nowadays. But yeah, that's what we do. We just put it all in a package, get it all ready, set up as much as we can ahead of time, put it, FedEx it, overnight or 2-day air, and they plug everything in, and then we know it's all managed.
It's great. We're moving the rent cost to the hardware side.
Yeah. All right. Strategy and then support, and then we'll transition to the next agenda item. Strategy. So baseline expectation here, have a conversation that is proactive with your vendors. Get ahead of the game. Yes, I know they want to sell you stuff, and that's okay, because the things that they're probably trying to sell you are going to help you run a better business. You don't have to buy it, right, if it doesn't make sense. But just get ahead of the conversations. Don't call them only when things are broken. Try to get ahead of it and make a plan and share with them what you're trying to do with your business. And then have them tell you how they can help you be successful. And so have internal technology conversations with your team. Pull everybody together after busy season and say, hey, everybody, what worked, what didn't around technology? And let's make some improvements. And you might be surprised. There might be some low-hanging fruit. And that's where it comes to issue tracking. You're already building that list. This is a work because we turned this into a workshop, right? And so build a list of issues and ideas. They're not necessarily things that are always broken, but things that you could use to better improve your technology. Even better, have a written technology plan, 90 days out, 1 year out, and 3 year out, that is helping you move things forward and supporting your business plan. And of course, having that supported with a technology budget. I'm a big fan of business first, technology second. So start with the business plan and decide where you're going with your business, and then have your technology plan work lockstep to help make that business plan become a reality. And ideally, you've got somebody in your organization that kind of is, maybe it's not their primary job, we totally get that, but maybe somebody who's trying new things out, who's kind of on the leading edge, and who can kind of be a resource. I know that's like my brother. He works at Lockheed Martin actually, and he's just known as like the guru. Like he's in the engineering department, manufacturing team, but like he's like their go-to person. Who's your go-to person? And help and build that person up and empower them with some tools and a little bit of time to try some things out and innovate, do some innovation for your firm. Best case scenario, regularly planned quarterly technology strategic planning, looking 90 days out always and moving forward consistently, where it's supporting business growth. And critical thing here, where you're looking and making technology decisions, you're looking at business and getting a measurable return on your technology investments. So getting clear on what you want to accomplish. We talked about intention. This is what I mean by intention. Just writing down a plan. It doesn't have to be perfect. Any plan is better than no plan, if you ask me. All right, and support is the last component with all of this. It's important that you've got somebody who you can turn to who's an expert in the various aspects of your technology, who are helpful and responsive, get back to you, understand your business and want you to be successful. Even better, you're working with a firm that's proactive. They're getting ahead of it. They're calling you to schedule those technology strategic planning sessions. They're monitoring it. They're letting you know when there's something that could fail and they're getting ahead of it. They're monitoring your backups. They're checking your uptime. They're telling you if your internet connection is getting full, not the other way around. They're bringing new, helpful, timely ideas that support your business goals and help you be successful. And they provide at the top level some kind of service level agreement, which is a service promise with a dollar, like teeth in it, where if they don't deliver on time, then they can get you get a deduction on your bill. So that support, that one's a little bit more straightforward. So figure out where you at today with all of these components and where do you want to go, and then prioritize those. We'll talk about that methodology, that formula for identifying. You just identified all these ideas, transforming them into opportunities, and then prioritizing them. But first, I want to talk a little bit about selecting the right tools, because at this point in time, you might identify a couple of gaps, right? There's a couple areas that, you know, we're missing coverage. And so as you're thinking about things and you're talking to your team and you're working with your internal technology advocate, there might be an opportunity for you to go and do some selection. And so I'm focusing on app selection, but this really works for just about anything from technology. And with every kind of software, hardware selection process for your company, it comes down to defining what does success look like from a business standpoint. What does this success look like? Know that from the beginning, and then follow just good project management best practices. And whether this is a small tool and a one-day project for you to find something, or a major overhaul of a piece of software that is going to, you know, transform your business, and it's going to take months or 18 months or years to accomplish this, following good, sound, just project management best practices is going to help you be successful. So who's your stakeholders? Build your team, use a project management tool to keep track of all the different aspects of what you're doing, who you're communicating with, what's going on and when, and get a meeting pulse schedule to keep this thing moving forward. So I'm going to share with you my simple software selection process, which applies for any kind of transformative change, big or small, that you're going to do in your firm this coming year to better leverage technology for growth. So step 1, 2, and 3, it's that simple. Build a matrix, evaluate your candidates, and deploy. And so, yes, I know this seems simple, but there's some really important nuance I want to talk about. For building the matrix, what that really is, it's gathering requirements. What does success look like? What does it need to do? And know that you just can't have everything. So the list must be prioritized. And then the next step is to identify a list of candidates. So let's say you're looking for a piece of software to do text messaging with your clients or some other kind of client communication software. What is it? What do you want to accomplish? Where, and then where you find candidates are from your colleagues, friends, from conferences, and from the internet, of course. But sometimes the best place to get candidates for software are going to be looking at the tools you're already using and seeing what is in their integration ecosystem. What do they already have pre-written integrations for? And that's going to potentially help you level up on that app component that we talked about earlier with using tools and apps that are fully integrated. So anytime I'm looking for a piece of software, I start with our core tool that we use, and I look to see which pieces, which apps they've already have an integration with, they've already vetted it, and I start there. And so then once you're evaluating your candidates, it's all about demos and trials and testing things out and narrowing it down, but critically grading these candidates on your matrix that you created. The matrix has the list of candidates across the top. Those are the rows. And then, I'm sorry, those are the columns. And then along the left, the rows are your requirements. And you grade each one, and you can use that to take a very kind of subjective methodology and make it very objective. And of course, then it's proof of concept and deployment phase. Many projects, they think about getting a new piece of software, they just skip the first two things. They're like, oh, we're just going to buy some software and deploy it. The first two phases, getting those two done and doing them well, will make deploy phase effortless or more effortless, right? And whether it's a minor, accessory or tool like Calendly or something major that involves a data migration, the bottom line is focusing on training and adoption from the beginning and how you're going to communicate everything to the team. I've had everything from where the software, they give you the PowerPoint templates on how to train everybody and how to roll it out. And then migrating data and making the switch. Chris, did you have any thoughts on this one?
This is so important, isn't it? I'm a big fan of Mike Michalowicz. He's written a lot on what the people in the accounting profession are doing. And he always talks about people who are patching rather than designing.
Yeah.
And, I think you nailed it, because people, it's like you just buy software because you have a need. I got a point need for this problem, so I bought some software for that. I need to get something signed electronically. I bought some software for that. Next thing you know, we've patch, and we have this monster software stack. Nothing talks to another, and all this stuff is living in all these various silos. It just feels like if we're going to be able to get ahead of this whole curve before we add even more software, taking those two steps back, really thinking about it like you're saying, is the way to go.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So that was the super simple software selection process. So Chris, I want to hear from you. Tell us a little bit about leveraging technology to improve the client response times and staff efficiency.
Well, I don't know about how everybody else on here is feeling, Daniel, but I always feel like we got a lot to do. Every time I talk to you, I feel like, okay, we got to make sure we're operating in the best area, right? And we're able to, tick all the items off of our list and get there. And to me, I think it's really about, software is supposed to create space for us. It's not supposed to add tension and anxiety and stress. It's supposed to make things fundamentally easier. So how can we do that? And I think one of the key moments for me was this notion, Daniel, you mentioned, look, we got to bring our clients on in the journey. And that's the elephant in the room, right? If our clients don't follow us, if security is a two-way street, and it is, if we have a fiduciary duty to our clients, then we should think it is. We have all the most valuable information. We have to make this whole thing really, really work and really sing. So as we think about this journey, we at Lissio, we're drawing a lot of inspiration from what's happening in the market and following patterns that we think really are working already today. So there's no real shock to the system. Clients can just follow along. We can kind of draft off of their own habits in their own personal financial lives already. So with that, let's go ahead and flip to the next slide here. So if we think about the client experience and we think about client response time, obviously we have to be really, really good. We have to be really strong on the web and really strong in mobile. And if we think about how important this is, and if we think about how we are going to make this whole thing work, you just don't want to make it something available to them, because we have email available on our phones. We have text messages available on our phones. Those are really good experiences. But if you start to think about the problem a little more deeply about how we want to be interacting with our clients and how our clients want to interact with us, what do we know? Just throwing something in somebody's inbox creates stress and anxiety, right? I don't know about everybody else on the phone here, but how many clients have inbox 0 or inbox 5, right? It just really doesn't exist. And so when we think about this and we think about, hey, if you want to make things easy for your clients and you want to get your clients to respond and know you care, what do? We do things we know that make their lives better. And one thing is make a list. Everybody says you have too many items kind of in circulation in your mind and your email box. Take them out of email and put them on a list and give them a due date. It'll relax you, right? Why don't we make a list for our clients in the first place? Just cut out the middleman there, right? And then if we are constantly feeling as if we're chasing clients, we're hounding them, we're constantly pestering, hey, you owe me something, because we send them an email and we keep on adding more to their email box, right? If we need something, adding more stress and anxiety, taking more time out of our day. There's social anxieties that happen when somebody says you're late. But if we get a reminder from Calendly, or we get a reminder from any software system, that's a gentle nudge. Nobody feels guilty about that. We're lowering the anxiety level on everybody's side. And it's a big win-win, because we're not spending our time chasing. The computer's doing that, right? And clients can feel a lot better. So, that's a lot better. And then if you go for best, if you can give them everything in one place and give them a pattern that really works, and all the tools they need are all there, that's the winning solution. And for us, I want to pick Bank of America. One of our board members, he runs operations for Bank of America, 10,000 employees on his team. Really interesting guy, running servers everywhere. Security is always top of mind. But what's happening in there is Bank of America is offering clients a great mobile experience and a great web experience. And people are depositing checks online. People are getting their statements online. They're downloading their tax forms online. Think of how many fewer inbound client requests there are going into Bank of America because of that. Far less traffic at tellers, far fewer needs for as many branches. Clients are much more successful. That pattern works, and it decreases anxiety for both sides. I don't have to worry about when I'm going to schedule time to go to the bank. The bank doesn't need to worry about having long lines that they need to service during rush hour, right? Huge savings on both sides. And obviously the security aspects, far more secure, right? People aren't running down to, the bank with, wads of checks and walking out with tons of money, all that kind of thing. It's just everything's being transacted more securely online. And it's happening with 2 secure endpoints, not email and text messages and a bunch of links. You just go to a single habit. I'm going to click on the app. I'll get my work done. I know there's no middle bad actor in there. I'm just going straight to the app, right? That's a winning formula. So it goes back to that design, that long-term vision of, do you want to have a collection of stuff with your clients, or do you want to start to bring the noise level down and get them into a more successful, happier, and certainly more secure habit? That's the pattern. That's the pattern we're looking for. So that's one. Let's go to the next slide. So 2, staff efficiency. So we got the clients, they're happier, they're working more mobilely, they're online. That's great. We also know we need to be able to work from anywhere. And if we think about the old days where file cabinets, hey, go to the client's file, take a look in there. That's where all the records are. That's gone, right? Now information is all digital, but it's digital and maybe siloed, right? So we need to give our firm a place where we can work and people can transition onto jobs and off of jobs, et cetera, without leaving these big digital holes. So if you can get people in a habit of going to one place and then eliminating the silos, like, hey, I think we got that, but I think it's on Chris's text message. It's in his text string somewhere because he's texting his client. You got to go ask him. Well, I don't want to be bothered, right? And I don't want to go flipping through my text messages to see what I did. You got to break the silos down. You have to do more design. So we know clients don't want to use email as much. An email is a silo. Nobody can read what's in my email, right? Nobody can read what's in my text strings. We got to be thinking about that design aspect. So that's better. And then best is obviously to save us a bunch of time, because we're providing our clients with lists. We're automatically reminding them. There's no ambiguity. And we're working in a quieter place. We're not throwing stuff in their inbox, hoping they read it and hoping they create their own list and stay on deadline. We're sitting down at our desks. The computer is delivering the right lists, the right tools, the right reminders to get clients to shuttle the information back to us more and more on time. And if they can self-service, because once we've delivered to them, if we can get our phones to stop ringing as much, saying, hey, can you resend me my blank, my financials, my tax returns, et cetera, it's creating more space for us. The more space we have, I think I'm an accountant, right? I spent the first 12 years of my career in finance and accounting. It was one of those deals where I didn't go into that job to hound clients and to go search for documents and resend them, right? That was the farthest thing from my mind. I wanted to sit down and do the work I enjoyed. And so that's really where technology, I think, can really start to tamp down the noise, the stress, all that kind of stuff that's happening today. And technology is going to get better and better at it. Better APIs, more connectivity, better tools, and better machine learning, for example, to know when and how to approach our clients in their digital lives, right? At the right time, the right touch point, the right media, right? So a couple ideas for you there. Next.
Love it. Love it. So now let's bring it all together. We've got some great ideas from the CPA technology optimization model, how to better leverage technology to get your clients to get to you what you need, how to better empower your staff to increase their efficiency. So I'm going to present to you and share with you these 3-step process to help you leverage what you've learned today and implement it into your firm after this busier season. So step 1 was today. You've already done step 1. You're identifying ideas, opportunities, inefficiencies, both from what we've been talking about today with good, better, best, and by looking around in your firm when you are done with this workshop at manual processes, duplicate data entry, and you're going to build this list. That's step 1. You're already doing it, looking for bottlenecks, handoff failures, and so forth. Step 2, this is the fun part. This is where you can take and identify the ones that you want, the biggest challenges you face, and transform them into technology, ways that you can address them with technology. And so that's what this workshop is all about, is using technology to identify or to address and resolve those inefficiencies and challenges that you're currently facing, or opportunities that you currently have available to you. And so there's lots of great examples here, but one that I like to use is, like what Chris mentioned, people not getting back to me on time, me having to chase people down. Yes, we could just, ramp up the phone calls and text messages and emails, right? And go brute force. Or we can use Liscio and create a better experience for our customers from the beginning and just reimagine it. And so that's what this phase is about. It's taking a step back and looking at how you can transform these challenges into operational efficiencies and potentially even into unique selling propositions for your business, something that makes you stand out from the crowd. I can say only one thing. I wish, Chris, that my CPA was on this workshop, because I wish that they would make it easier for me to do business with them as their client.
We'll do a private workshop.
Thank you. Okay, and then step 3, it can be overwhelming, everybody, to think about all the potential improvements and all the great things that are out there. Maybe you've got a list that are dozens of items long. Then what I recommend that you do is compartmentalize. What's an idea or objective for 3 years out? Make a 3-year list. Build a 1-year list that helps support that 3-year list. And then what are the things you're going to focus on in the next 90 days in order of importance? And for that next 90 days, the 1-year and the 3-year, pick dates and lock down a date, right? That's the fixed variable. That's when you're going to get this done by, and then determine what you can accomplish in that time frame, being specific so that when you write down these goals, there's, what it done looks like. You can see that it can be done, it's attainable, that its results, there's going to be an outcome, and that now is the right and best time to focus on that. So creating this 90-day, 1-year, 3-year plan for technology is going to help you both do short-term things that are going to make a big impact and move you every quarter closer and closer to your ideal 3-year picture. So with that, I'll mention that as a great follow-up to today's workshop, a technology checkup, we offer this for free, is a great next step. It can give you a foundational understanding of your technology baseline. We give you a score and your responses to the questions that help you understand and identify areas where you can improve, and the key areas that we've identified for CPA firms. Chris, do you want to talk about the client experience assessment?
Yeah, the client experience assessment is a great 3-minute way just to get your hands around a lot of the issues that you might be facing. And we're going to go ahead and just go ahead and put the answers in there. We'll send you your assessment so you have it. And that's going to allow you to get a really good handle on areas that you might be feeling some pain today that you're so used to right now that you're not necessarily identifying as opportunities to go out and fix. So 3 minutes of your time, really quick, worth doing, liscio.me/CXAT.
So yeah, so that for client experience, tech guru technology checkup for your technology. All right, so we are at time. Does anybody have any closing remarks?
Well, I want to thank you, Daniel, for coming here. I know you and your entire team have been so good to so many of our clients, and it's great to have you here to share a lot of what you guys are seeing. I know that you've done an awful lot with our group in terms of taking a lot of this IT burden off of their plate. I did want to mention that if you're a Listio user, and I know many Listio firms are actually on this call. I can see a lot of the names going by here. There is a special we have. Daniel's kind enough to offer you all a free consultation session with his team, just for being a Listio user. So I invite you to take advantage of it. I think there's a lot of stuff here. He's mentioned workshops, et cetera. There's a lot of value there if you're not already taking advantage of it.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chris. It's a pleasure to be working together.
Wonderful.
Wow, the hour went really fast.
Yes, it did.
Thank you both. I want to share with you, Daniel, that this is like the first time I've seen you present, and Lindsay and I were chatting away. Wow, he's killing it.
Oh.
So we really enjoyed your presentation. And Chris, I always learn so much when I'm listening to you. So thank you for your time today as well. And I want to thank Justin and Lindsay on the back end for helping us with that. And this is a wrap, folks. So we will be sending you out the presentation, and the presentation will be in a PDF, and also the recordings. So we'll have those out to you probably tomorrow at some point. Any last closing thoughts, Daniel and Chris?
I wanted to say it's my absolute pleasure to be on this together. Look forward to hanging out together in the future and talking technology and customer experiences. The two of the things I love talking about.
And they're related. And they're related.
Yes, they are.
Let's do it again. Let's do it again. I appreciate everybody taking time out of your busy days today. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care, everyone.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.